it seems just the same old routine. Blowing trees, writing these bars, line after line, mining for a diamond, but a dime is what I find. Hiding from the truth by simply coasting through these hard times with green, even though I'm feeling blue. But I gotta face the facts, girl, you know that it's true. And maybe what I'm supposed to do is not to get so close to you. But these days the only things that seem great are fading away, and the only time I feel home is when I'm alone or far away. But the road call says the wind blows, 10 missed calls on my flip phone, so it stays closed. Staring out my window while my mind slowly goes off into my headphones, hoping that the dough will be worth it for the show, but who knows? Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day, and there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change. No, we're never gonna change. And day after day is just the same old thing. Working class life, and yes, it surely will bring a food to the table and a roof when it rains. But for the most part, you're just doing the same thing. A part of a machine with the ball and a chain. You try to be happy, yet all you feel is pain. It's a shame to use your brain and know that someone never changed. But if insanity's the game, then you can take my hand and play. Life has a rhythm that I ride to, and you can come along if you would like to. And I can show you what it's like to walk in my shoes, to learn how to love just like I do.
Well, today is Sunday the 17th. It must be kicking it with Koz time, and I am not Koz.
I'm Koz. I'll take responsibility for that.
Well, it's about time someone did. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Kicking It with Koz. Today is definitely a good day to be alive, just because. Why not, right?
What else is there to be?
Exactly. So, how is everybody doing? How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, dude. I always enjoy the weekends because it's it's a little bit of downtime. I do go in, but there's no stress. It's just taking care of a couple things and then coming home.
Okay. No, not bad then. Not bad.
Look at a regular long week this weekend, this coming week, but then it's Memorial Day, and you kind of. I thought we were like 2 weeks away from Memorial Day, but it's the last Monday in May.
Yes,
right?
It is.
And that would be next Monday, so a week from tomorrow. So that's it's my regular short week. So I'll have a 3-day work week next week.
Not this coming week, but the next week.
Correct. Yeah, I'll get Monday and Friday off.
Oh man. Yeah, you're right. It is kind of weird that it's getting that things are moving actually very, very quick.
And we're almost halfway done through the freaking year. And I want a do-over, man. 2020 just sucks.
Oh, come on. It's not that bad.
I want my money back. Speaking of money,
apparently
that shit just grows on trees because the Congress just passed their version of another $3 billion stimulus. Was it billion? Was it billion with a B or trillion?
It was $3 trillion.
Trillion.
Congress passed it, but the Senate said it'll be dead on arrival.
Right. It's what do they call that? The Heroes Fund. It was like 200 billion. In that was going to give everybody who's labeled an essential employee like hazard pay.
Yeah. And
it's going to get another check, another $1,200 stimulus check for those with an adjusted gross income of, if you're single, $75,000 or less. $150 if you're married. It's kind of more of the first, but I haven't seen all the crap that's attached to it.
Yeah.
Got a synopsis of what it covers, but it's just there's a lot of language in there that's really ambiguous.
Well, and from what I've heard, they've left a whole bunch of stuff open to what was it? They were talking about actually giving money to illegals.
Mm-hmm.
That they wanted to actually in other words, give us checks, but also give illegals checks because they're out of work now. And I when I saw that, I'm just sitting there going, really? We really need to do that? I don't think so. But again, what do we know, right?
So all we're going to do is pay taxes, right?
That's all we're going to do.
Since apparently this money tree that's in Washington is just going to be, it's like an endless pocket of cash. You know, in order to make up that balance, they're going to have to raise taxes or something.
Well, Wall is correct, and so are you, Bernice. I mean, Bernice is going, wait, what? You talking about? Is there another stimulus payment coming? No, that's the thing, is this... Congress
was in session, and they passed their version of, this is the fourth stimulus package that was put together.
And the Senate...
it hasn't been voted on by the Senate.
And the Senate has said it's dead on arrival, and that they're waiting for a week or two for things to open up a little bit, because some states are actually opening up, and they're waiting to also give a chance for some of the stimulus that's been put out there to work, rather than just keep throwing money without looking. And to me, that makes more sense, of course. But to Congress, they're trying very hard to... I mean, from what I've heard, they're even trying to write in constitutional stuff and laws, what in the bill itself, and trying to say, oh, well, you know, we're just trying to cover things, trying to make some things permanent that shouldn't be permanent, things like that. They're trying to make it so that illegals can even they're trying to make it so illegals can actually go get unemployment permanently. In other words, they once COVID is done, this won't go away. They keep trying to do stuff like that, and that's not what this is supposed to be about.
I think how many states are opening up now? It's the majority of them right now. There are in several different phases. You were mentioning earlier that you guys are in phase one, where you can't go to a restaurant, but you can go and get something to go. You can go to the grocery store. You can take care of your essential business.
Yeah.
But you can't go camping, and I know you want to go camping.
I want to go camping so bad.
Our stuff now is everything is open at a reduced capacity here in Texas. Yeah. I don't go out too much, so I haven't experienced it. I mean, that's like I say this every damn week. I go shopping once a week. I get gas once every 2 weeks, and that's all. You know, I stay my ass at home. I'm fine with that. Completely fine with that.
Well, even here, they're allowing fishing, and they're allowing people to go out on the lakes, and they're allowing people to do stuff.
Different states have handled this differently, man. In Texas here, if you can launch your boat, you can go out and fish.
Exactly. Same here. The problem is they're not letting you put a camper in or even use a tent. And hello, how are you, Beyond? And hello, Mr. Joseph. It's good to see you. That's just it. Joseph made the comment, I don't think the stimulus will do crap. And he's right. The stimulus isn't really doing crap.
It might make a world of difference to someone who's now collecting unemployment, who can't go to work.
Yeah.
But all that is opening back up. I think most people are beginning to go back to work. Not everybody's back to work, but most people are. They're businesses are opening up slowly.
Well, and
I haven't missed a day of work since this whole shitstorm went, and it happened. But I know that there are people out there that have been out of work.
Sorry, I'm typing something real quick. There we go. No, at this point, I think businesses are more important than anything, because hello, Bailey, nice to see you, and thank you, Bernice. She's from Klamath County in Oregon. Very nice. I I think at this point we need to focus on business. We need to focus on the small. We need to focus on getting businesses open, because one, that will get people back to work, and two, it will get the economy moving properly, rather than focusing on trying to get people more money, because if the jobs are there, the money's there. And to me, that's more important.
I think President Trump is going to, I think, announce in a couple of weeks he wants to bring a lot more of like pharmaceutical manufacturing back to the States.
Yeah, I think that's not just that. He's talking about bringing a lot of manufacturing back, because this was kind of the eye-opener the United States needed. We need to bring stuff that's essential back into the United States, away from other countries, and so that we don't have to rely on them in case of something. Hello, Holly. It's good to see you.
I definitely agree. I think we need to take care of ourselves, and if there's if you want to involve another country in the manufacturing of something that you use, then by all means do that. But make sure that we can do it too. Exactly.
Make sure there's a backup plan that can move very quickly. I mean, we found out a lot of our weaknesses. We really did, and we paid for it. But it's coming together. In order to bring anything back to the States, you need to make it economically feasible. Manufacturing. Yeah, I agree. That's the problem. The biggest problem we got, as opposed to, I'm opposed to isolationism myself. Okay, I don't think we need to isolate ourselves, but I think we do need to be realistic in what's essential, and do we want. It's kind of like, okay, if we were to have a plane built, in the Department of Defense commissions a plane, and they said, we're going to go with France's plane. Well, then what happens if France doesn't agree with us on something? They can make it so we can't get parts. That's the problem you run into. And they've got codes. They can all of a sudden make it really hard on our planes. If they were to disagree with us, they could sell codes to our enemy and make it really, really hard on us. These are the types of things we have to take into consideration. Certain essential things. I'm not saying everything, but certain essential things need to be kept. And the downside to that is manufacturing in the U.S. does cost more because of unions, minimum wage, and everything else. It costs more. It's flat out it does. And how do we get that? How do we keep that under control without without it being run by the government? So that's kind of where it's. What do you do? Philip, the background picture, that is actually tubing in Kauai. They have irrigation ditches in Kauai that were part of plantations, and the plantations are gone. But they kept the irrigation ditches open, and there's this one mountain in Kauai that gets a lot of water, and it goes down into the plantations, and they have all these openings and gates and water gates and everything else, and you actually they put you on a tube. You've got to have a wetsuit because you can get cold, and they give you a helmet with lights on them, and for about an hour you will flow down these irrigation ditches. And they're actually it's pretty cool. You actually go in tunnels and everything.
It sounds like you could die.
No, that's just, it's very safe.
Whenever I think of irrigation ditches, I think of like what you kind of mentioned in a previous conversation today. I mentioned that it's been raining a lot Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
How good Dallas was doing. And if they had drainage systems like Vegas has, you might have a bone dry drainage ditch, and then the rain comes, and that thing is a raging torrent.
Well, that's just it. These drainage ditches are actually set up to make it so that farms could actually hold water and divert. They're constantly. I mean, this mountain gets rain almost every day, so they've got a constant flow of water.
What's the elevation there? Did they get snow on top of any of the peaks?
On the highest one in Kauai, that's a good question. I think it does at the very top. I've been up there, but I was up there in the summer. It does get cold. I mean, the temperature changes. You would not believe. Vegas has people living in the drainage system. I've heard that. I've heard that, Stephanie or Stefan.
I guess the reason I was asking is because like in Montana, up in the mountains there, they have, their snowpack is 80, 90, 100, 120 inches of snow, and then there's snow on those mountaintops until probably July. And when it melts, then dude, all the rivers are just, they're awesome. They're awesome.
Huh. Well, and see, that's just it. With this, I guess they get rain all I want to say they said over 300 days of the year.
Oh, wow.
Okay. On this one mountain. And they'll actually tell you there's certain areas of the island, you have the dry side and the wet side and the fair side. I mean, all the area that I would go to, which is where the base is on Kauai, is considered dry, and we got rain every other day.
That works.
So it got quite a bit. Exactly, Joseph. Someone brought up, why doesn't WTF Moments talk about immigrants that serve in the Army? It's not something that you talk about because it's not something you pursue in the Army. I don't sit there and say, are you an immigrant? If they can take an order, I'm fine. That's, who and what they are. I don't try. I never tried to get into that. That's not my business.
We had, let's see, I served with a Canadian, and he was earning his citizenship. I served with a German. He was from Bad Tolls, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And he was serving in the United States military. And I served with one of my roommates, Tae-Hoon Kim, was from South Korea. All three of them were, at different parts of in my career in the Army, but they were in the military to earn their citizenship. But I don't remember. It just wasn't a thing. You don't walk around with a banner saying, "Hey, I'm an immigrant."
And that's the one thing that I never really focused on. The only thing that I ever worried about is, could they speak good enough English? Because working as a medic and psychiatric specialist in either place, you have to be able to speak English. If you can't speak...
Pi was SAS over in the UK, and then he came over to the United States, and he served in the United States military.
Yeah.
As a ranger.
We've actually had in the when I worked psych, we actually had some people who their first language was Spanish, and they were Puerto Rican, and they would sit there and they'd warn them, you need to get rid of your accent. You need to speak really good proper English, because when you're speaking to the patients, they need to be able to stand what you say. And two, you need to be able to say things quickly in a moment's notice.
You need to be able to effectively communicate.
Exactly. And it can get interesting. And even as a medic, we had the same thing. As medics, you have to be able to communicate. Communication is the key.
You know what makes communication really hard?
What?
Those silly face masks.
Yes, it actually does. I mean, my wife and I, we went to the commissary, and we're talking back and forth, and I can't tell you, a number of times I had to say, honey, you have to repeat that. I can't quite pick it up in the mask.
I didn't realize how much communication is visual, and it's not just auditory. I mean, I look at people's faces, I look at their facial expressions, and I look at their mouth. And if I don't hear something, I can probably pick up what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, these folks walking around in the masks, whether they do that out of an abundance of caution for themselves, or if they have to, like my kid works at Costco.
Yeah.
And they have to wear those things. Whenever they're on shift, they have to have the face mask on. But everyone sounds like they got a sock in their mouth.
They do. They really do. It muffles your enunciation. And people, when they have a mask on, tend not to enunciate their words as much because the movement underneath, their lips underneath that mask, make it... A lot of people get lazy about it. And they don't want to eat the mask.
I noticed that, man. I actually had to go to one of the big Walmarts. You know, we've got the little neighborhood Walmarts that I usually go to.
Yeah.
And I needed some things that are only sold in the big Walmart, so I had to go there. And just everybody who was wearing a mask was wearing it wrong. Nose hanging out, or it's not really, you know, it's kind of hanging off of their ears, and it's not tight against their face, and it's doing absolutely. I guess it's just more of a for looks.
Yeah, and that's the thing I did notice, not at the commissary, but also I went to a grocery store, and the workers, they're supposed to be wearing the masks, and you can tell that at some point they're like, I really can't, and they can't deal with it. And you brought up a valid point. Wearing a mask, unless it has a filter that breathes for you, in other words, when you breathe out, it allows air to go out, and when you breathe in, it filters through. The problem that you run into is you actually run into your carbon dioxide levels go up behind that mask. And
there was a neurosurgeon that what's his name, Dr. Blaylock. PJ Media put out an article, and they were talking about the face masks, and he says that these are actually doing more harm than good when you have healthy people wearing masks because of the what the hell? Let me see if I can pull this up. He said that there's no scientific evidence that the masks are effective against COVID-19 transmission.
No.
What pro-science people should care about this, and he labels out a bunch of things, and some of the things that he came up with was carbon dioxide toxicity. You know, where the oxygenation of your blood
goes down
like 20% when you're wearing these things.
And I can see that.
And my daughter's like, Dad, I have a headache every day when she goes to work. She gets a headache like within 30 minutes of being on shift. And that's exactly. I told her, go to the back room, take the mask off, and get some fresh breaths, get some full breaths in.
Yeah, and that's what you have to. People don't the mask thing. The reason I'm for them, it's not because masks will necessarily block you from getting it, but if you have it, it keeps you from spreading it as easily. And that's more of what my concern is someone goes out there and they have it, that mask will keep it in. Yes, wearing a mask for 8 hours would be would be unhealthy. I can't blame for someone for, if anything, pulling it down so that they can actually breathe. Yeah, right, Heath. Hypoxia. He also said, I had to wear a mask for two hours at work, so I purposely only spoke gibberish.
See, I went and got a haircut last week.
Yeah, I you had said that.
Super happy about that. I feel like a new man with the haircut, man.
It's the small things.
It is. And the lady who was cutting my hair, she said, we're wearing masks just because it makes the customer feel better. And I get it. And she's just like, I can't wear this all the time. So she'll step away every couple of minutes and stick her head out the door or walk somewhere else in the in the haircutting joint and take a few breaths by herself.
Yeah, yeah.
So it sucks. I don't know if I could wear one all day long. That would suck.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would. And I am watching the conversation, both Joseph and Raymond, in your in that chat. Raymond's talking about it's harder to become natural. Or it's hard to become naturalized, or has become harder to become a naturalized citizen serving in the military. In other words, they've made it a little bit harder. I don't know what to say that. I mean, unfortunately, I understand it's not the military. The U.S. has gotten harder to become naturalized in, and that's the downside to this.
It shouldn't be easy, I don't think.
No, I don't think it should. I really don't think it should be easy. And I understand, well, you're serving, so therefore you're showing that you care about the country you're trying to become a part of. But then
I think service for citizenship should be a fast track.
Yes,
for sure.
I think it should be a fast track in some ways, but in other ways there should still be certain hurdles you have to jump through, just like everybody else. Yeah, I know. I did know people in the service that did go through the service to become naturalized. And then you've got the women who actually marry the soldiers who get their citizenship a little bit quicker because they married a service member. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have to go through something. It's not just because you serve should not guarantee boom, that's it. No. There still should be some accountability and some responsibility. And again, that's my opinion.
If you think about it, I think becoming a naturalized citizen in the United States is a little bit easier than even in Canada.
Yes. Well, now there are some places where it's harder than the U.S.
A lot of places are harder than the United States is.
Oh, much. In fact, places like England, now that Brexit has gone through, they're going back to their old rules.
Well, even what's her face? Who's that American that married the royal?
Markle.
Meghan? She has to go through her citizenship.
Yes.
In the UK.
Yes, she does. And the thing that they require is like in many.
They're out. They left the country.
Yes, they did. They're in Canada. They have decided that
to come to the United States.
That Canada is going to be their main home, and that they've got a couple other homes like in the U.S. and stuff. But they actually, in a lot of other places, require that you be useful. In other words, you can't just show up and say, "Hey, I want to be here," and then it's like, "Oh, but I don't have a job." No, they have to have a need for you, or you will not become a citizen.
Some kind of a marketable skill.
Exactly.
And you have to be sponsored, don't you? In Canada?
I think you do.
I imagine if you're a royal that there's I'm guessing that there's some strings that can be pulled.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not slugs.
No, they're not slugs. And Raymond, he said, I understand my argument comes from changing the standards and pushing the goalpost. In other words, they changed the standards from when he got in to when he tried to naturalize. And he said that the standards changed from when he got in to now when he's trying to. They've made it harder on him. And I think they should grandfather things like that in. I mean, it's sad to hear that. Raymond, why not make it easier and faster? There's arguments for both sides.
We're not immigration attorneys. So.
Yeah, there's arguments for both sides. We're not immigration attorneys. I can't get in here and tell you everything because I don't know. In France, I believe you have to complete 10 years in the French Foreign Legion before becoming eligible for French citizenship. Yes, if that's the route you complete or that you want to go. The Foreign Legion is actually set up for people who have interesting pasts, and they'll wipe your slate completely clean, even give you a new identity if you want it. But you have to put in so many years, and they make it hard. They don't make it easy on you. With the French Foreign Legion, I think you have to be able to speak fluent French within the first year. So you can actually just show up to the French Foreign Legion gates, and they'll interview you. And if they take you, it's not like you can be, a numbskull. They make it so you have to jump some hoops before they will naturalize you. There are a lot of places out there that are they all have their ways of doing things. Thank you very much, Raymond. I appreciate it. Stay at home in LA and move there. There was some debate about security or whatever a while back. Okay. Casey said they did buy a home. The Royals bought a home in LA, but they've had problem. There's a security thing that's going on back and forth. Okay. So anyway, what is everybody going to do for Memorial Day? Has anybody even thought about this? This is next weekend, everybody.
No, I really haven't. Actually, until you mentioned it, I didn't realize it was next weekend already. I thought I had an extra week.
A lot of people do, but it is actually next weekend. Stephen said, I'm just going to stay home and barbecue. See, that's not too bad, though. At least you're going to barbecue instead of just sit there and frump or binge watch.
Don't hate me for frumping.
No, you should pull out the grill.
Oh, my grill is out 365 days a year.
Well, but you should use it.
I use it almost every night.
All right.
So barbecuing is not it's not a special thing.
Well, then maybe
I do that more often than. Oh, dude, I made millionaire bacon this weekend successfully.
Oh, okay. How'd it taste?
Delicious. I burnt the crap out of it last time. Because you're baking sugar, and it's hard. There's a fine line, and I crossed that fine line last week. But anyway, yeah. I mean, I grill. I'll bet you 4 or 5 days a week.
And Kyle says he's going to go to a VFW cookout.
There you go.
And Mr. Joseph says he's going to drink water, work out, and chill in the woods. That sounds nice too. And that I'm not telling everybody you got to do something special. Just remember to acknowledge it. Acknowledge, and this may sound silly, but acknowledge that it's spring because you've been cooped up in your house being told, be careful, be safe. Okay, that's great. But after that, you need to acknowledge the seasons. You need to acknowledge that it's getting warmer out and that you can be out. And Blair wants to know, what is billionaire bacon or millionaire bacon?
Millionaire bacon. It is you take a really thick sliced bacon.
Yep.
You put it in a. I don't like scrubbing dishes, so I'll buy like an aluminum, like a lasagna pan.
Yeah.
I'll lay the bacon out in there, and you take some 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and like a 1/4 teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice, and you mix it together. And I add in some cayenne pepper.
Oh wow!
Then in a you brush that on the bacon, and while that's kind of soaking in, you get about a cup of brown sugar, and you mix some pepper flakes, some red pepper flakes, and then I also put some cayenne pepper in that, and then you sprinkle that on the bacon, and then you bake it. For the original recipe that I found had me doing it at 400 degrees, but that's when I
burnt it.
I burnt the crap out of it. So this week I did it at 350, and it turned out very, very, very well. And that's 20 minutes. You bake it for 20 minutes, and then you turn the pan 180 degrees.
Yeah.
Bake it for like 15 or 20 more minutes.
Nice.
And you take it out, and it gets it's a really, really sweet, spicy bacon. You can chop it up and put it on salad. You can. I've just been eating it. It's so good. It's probably not good for you. I mean, bacon. Then with all the sugar in there, that's just not good for you.
And he said that unfortunately he normally has a family reunion, but that got canceled because of COVID. First time in his lifetime. Wow.
There's a lot of firsts going on, man. Like they just had a bunch of graduation ceremonies yesterday, and it was all like virtual. Some of them were in person, like where the teachers were there, and then 2 students would be brought. It wasn't a big formal thing, but it was just people are making changes to the way that the course of business is being done.
Exactly.
You got to make it special. I feel really bad for the graduating seniors.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
I've got a cousin whose kids just graduated college, University of Arizona, and that was more of a email you your diploma and congratulations, and they had a couple of formalities that they went through.
But it's not like it was.
It's not like it was.
Yeah.
Even the Naval Academy had a graduation.
Yeah, I know. I actually saw that.
That was kind of neat. Everybody was like spaced 6 feet apart.
Yes.
On this taking up the entire football field.
Yeah. Steven said hurricane season here a couple weeks early, so some people have that to look forward to, right?
Florida's got a depression, but they're saying it's more of a threat to the Outer Banks.
Yeah.
Up North Carolina or in North Carolina. So.
And you've got Casey's attention with food. She's now going to start going on her food talks. Food is her life.
Food is good, man. You can't live without it.
Oh, I agree. No, I mean, try to put things in front of you to look forward to. Tropical Storm Arthur is supposed to be coming around.
That's the name.
So everybody has that to look forward to down in the South.
I wonder how FEMA is going to operate in the case of a bad storm reaching the shore.
With all
these COVID precautions.
That will be interesting. He said that they had his son's graduation yesterday in a huge hayfield. That's the one thing I'll say about America is we will innovate. We can think outside the box and have fun with it. And that's the thing I think we have to remind ourselves. You can still do things.
We make stuff happen.
Exactly. If you want it to happen, you can make it happen. Even if it takes a little bit more to do it, you can still do it. And that's the cool part about it.
We're talking about opening. A decision is going to be made, I think, tomorrow about opening up bars now.
What is it? They're saying that bars, restaurants, they're warning they either have to be at like 50% capacity. They cannot be at 100% capacity. And I get, but there are some places that can't even take that because if they can't go higher than 50%, they don't make enough of a profit.
We had a steakhouse closed down. They just announced it's the Hofbrau Steakhouse.
Okay.
Been in Fort Worth for years and years and years and years. They're having to close their doors.
Yeah.
Because I guess whoever owns the property upped the rent or the lease.
Yeah.
and they can't. The owners of the building are not bending at all, and the company's just like, we can't afford it. Especially now that they've been closed or at a reduced capacity, to-go orders and delivery type stuff. It's enough to keep the people happy, but it really doesn't pay to keep the lights on.
And you do have to worry about that, and that's at some point you've got to holler, uncle. And unfortunately, we're going to see some closures. Companies that we've seen forever are going to go away just because. What was it? My wife. Two things happened interestingly enough this week with my wife. One is sad. Her dentist that she loves, the guy is great. He decided to take this time to go ahead and retire. He was thinking about it. He decided to use it. No reason to try to come back and not be able to go full strength. He just decided it was time to retire. But the other thing is, my wife had a dermatology appointment, and they went ahead and did it through an application called Zoom, where they actually do a video chat. And
it's interesting.
It was interesting because they said because it's dermatology, make sure you have a light so you can point out what you want the doctor to look at in the camera. And it actually went very well. I find that, again, what are we going to learn from this pandemic? What are going to be the takeaways? You have to wonder who in the back of doctors' minds, in the back of the company's minds, what is the takeaway, and what can we do, and how can we save money, and how can we help people out better?
I think the way that businesses are conducting their business is going to change.
Yeah. I definitely think a lot of things are going to change. I think a lot of things have been learned. We can shop on those major retailers have been the resource to weather the storm is the epidemic, but we can't shop at mom and pop shops. Exactly. I think I do have a problem with the fact that places like Costco were allowed to be open, but mom and pop shops weren't. I do have a problem with that. I buy my vitamins from a. Hello, Doc. Good to see you. I do buy my vitamins from a specific shop, and the lady is a licensed and certified master herbalist here in the state that I'm at. And what's interesting is she's allowed to do orders over the phone, and you pay for it through a credit card over the phone, and then you call her right when you're outside. She'll go put it in a basket, and then she goes back in and you go pick it up. But she was having a hard time figuring out what happens with phase 2. And I said, you know what? I think you need to take a page out of doctors, because a lot of my doctors, my personal doctors, I sit there and say, you know what? I'm willing to cancel my appointment. They're like, no, you're not one of them. We're going to allow you to cancel. Everybody else can cancel. You can't. It's like, great, thanks. But what I find interesting is because they cancel so many, they had more time. Well, I sat there and I brought to her attention, can't you go ahead and just allow only 3 people in the shop at a time and make it by appointments? And she sat there and thought about it, and she said, that would really work. And I said, not only that, what's stopping you from carrying around your smartphone and pointing to things to make sure that's what people want? That's giving them personal service. And she started thinking about it. She said, that would really work. These are the types of things that I think are going to be the takeaway. is we can open ourselves up in more ways, and we can run our companies in different ways that will be more efficient and more personal, because the personal touch is what people look for when they buy locally. Otherwise, you can just go on Amazon. You know?
I've been doing that.
Well, yeah, I have it too.
I think I am one of the reasons why Jeff Bezos just became a trillionaire.
We all are. We all are. Yeah, Casey said that they've been open pretty much this whole time. They really didn't shut down up in Wisconsin. See, here in our state, vitamin shops aren't considered essential. They put them in the realm of restaurants.
That's nuts, man. Because all the GNC places were open. Of course, all the pharmacies were open, like the legit pharmacies.
Yeah,
CVS and Walgreens.
And so why wouldn't you allow? I mean, there are stuff that in her shop that you can't find at Walgreens or Rite Aid or any of those places, and yet they don't consider her an essential. The only reason she was able to keep afloat was because she said, I'll just do phone orders.
Or if you don't have like an internet presence, or if you're an older if you're an older shop owner and you're not hip on the latest technologies and stuff, this would be a super challenging time.
Oh, yes.
To fucking adjust fire and make things work just to stay in business.
Exactly. I mean, in fact, that was one of the things. Her, the lady I go to, her daughter helps her run it, and I had to talk to her daughter, not her, because she understood the technology I was talking about as far as doing things like over Skype or over Facebook private messenger, where you can go, you can set up and actually use your smartphone so you can show people what they're talking about. She said, because people buy herbs sometimes in bulk, and they're used to dishing it out themselves, which is like a pinch or a cup or a bag or whatever. And she couldn't get a good description with that. So it came down to, okay, I said, well, why aren't you using, Facebook? What reason are you not using Skype? You can go through your phone, point it, and they can see what you're doing. And the daughter understood that. Not her. Yeah, see, in Massachusetts, pot stores are only open for medical patients, but beer and wine gets sold all day.
Yeah, the liquor stores are still open up here.
Yeah, and see,
the only state to curb that, I don't know if Pennsylvania did it. I know Michigan did it, where you can go shopping, but you can only get essential items, and there was a whole list of things that were considered non-essential items, and you weren't allowed to buy those things. Michigan's just a mess as far as the overhandedness of the authoritarian type governments that they have there. They're wielding too much power. They're using power that they don't have.
Well, I'm finding it funny because have you noticed, and Casey kind of brought it up in her own way, there are states where you've got federal trying to dictate, you've got, but they're basically saying, okay, it's up to the state. And the state is trying to become the overlord, some are, and then you've got the counties. And I think it's funny that there are counties going against the state.
Right.
And I'm actually in one of those counties. And it's funny how they sit there and say, no, we're not going to do it that way. It makes no sense to us. And then you've got the state trying to say, well, and it's like, you're going to get your constituency in this area directly pissed off at you? You really want to go there? You really want to say that we can't govern ourselves because we don't have the problems you have? It is funny. I mean, there are some counties that, there's one county up in the north area, they have no cases whatsoever. And they have really quite a bit of construction going, or had a bunch of construction going on. And finally, the county said, you know what, screw it. And he said, I'm going to allow this the county said, we're opening up all construction. Don't care what the state says. My thing is, and I think we've talked about this before, this would have been the best time to have road construction done. It really would have. But a lot of places sat there and said, well, that would be endangering the road construction crews. It's like, no, not really. They really do kind of keep their distance. So I don't agree with it. And we could have, I mean, think of all of this work that as soon as we go back to work, think of all the road construction that's behind schedule now. That they're gonna push forward along with everything else.
We haven't had that problem. They wrapped up all of the maintenance type of road construction projects that were going on. Though they finished them.
Nice.
They finished them and they restriped. I drive Interstate 20 on the way to work, and that's like 80% new stripes on the road, man. It's really nice.
Casey's talking about Wisconsin. Folks rushed to the bars, and then mayors were like, nope, you're behaving crazy, new rules. See, that's the other downside to this, is when they do open up, like they opened up bars in where Casey is at, but they haven't here. It's going to be interesting when they do open up certain things. Are people going to be stupid? Are they going to rush in and all of a sudden, sorry, we're going to have to close this because y'all can't get that you're still supposed to be social distancing.
And that's the problem, is you have people that, and I think where this is coming from is you got people that either don't care and they are stupid and they will do stupid things because people are stupid.
Yes.
Not everybody. Some people are just dumb. Or they're asymptomatic, but they're still carrying, or they're still contagious. And they're going to these functions and whatnot, and people are getting sick. They had a Mother's Day activity. This was in California somewhere, and some guy that was positive, who tested positive, went to this thing anyway, and he potentially infected like 118 or so other people.
Jeez, that's ridiculous.
So we've been open. May 1st is when Texas started opening back up. And
yeah,
I've been counting the COVID cases. Of course, testing has gone up too. They're testing. Anybody who wants a test can go and get tested, and that's the reason why I think there's more positive cases in my county since May 1st. We're about 2,100 cases since May 1st.
Yeah,
and Dallas is up about 4,000. It's really not bad.
No.
It didn't spike. I expected to see some kind of a spike, but it's everything is kind of in line.
And my feelings are at this point, you really can't. There really were some states, and this is the sad part. It wasn't just the governors. They have told the senators and the Congress representatives from those states. There are certain states that are truly talking about trying to stay shut down until they have a vaccine.
I think California is one of those.
I think they are too. In fact, California is one of them that said they are not going to allow school to open.
Damn.
Next year. Can you imagine this?
I think there's 4 states, and it's like a contest to who's the worst and who's the most oppressive. Washington State, California, Michigan, and I want to say Philadelphia.
Well,
those 4, they're always in the news about, here's what the governor did this week.
Yeah. Well, fortunately for us, the governor has allowed things to open up. But you're talking down in California, they're not. There are actually mayors that have gone on record to say that they support going against, even if the governor allows phases to happen, they are going to enforce shutdown until a vaccine rolls around. And this is San Francisco mayor.
Where the damage is just going to be irreversible, man. You can't recover from that.
I agree, but that's just it.
It'd be immensely difficult to recover from that. I'm not saying it can't be done, but damn, it's going to be really hard.
You have to wonder where their head is. You really do. And the elections, some people, like some mayors, it isn't election time for them, and so they're not worried about it. And others, they think that they're showing their true strength, and it's like, no, what you're showing is you aren't listening to your people. Yeah, Luke's talking about Washington State. Washington State does not always follow California. It comes close. Where I'm at, we have a sheriff that is just funny as all get out. He's almost your typical redneck. And we actually, the governor has tried in many attempts to make gun grabs here, and he's gone as far as saying we're a Second Amendment sanctuary county. I mean, it is hilarious, the things that go on in states where there's so much separation of ideals.
I saw, it was a meme, and I think it pretty much sums it up. I forget who said it, but it's basically the government is not there to keep you safe. The government is there to protect your constitutional rights.
Exactly.
And so many states are not doing that.
In that's the truth. Josiah, I agree. San Francisco is kind of was jacked before the coronavirus, but they're really making it worse. And some of the things they're trying to pull is, see, with the coronavirus and making everybody shut in, you don't see the obvious problems. Like, you go over to Seattle right now, you don't see the homelessness, you don't see the drugs, because one, everybody's shut in. Two, somehow the Seattle managed to get FEMA money to put homeless people into hotels.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't they put them in hotels?
Yes. And somehow they got that. And see, as long as there's a state of emergency, as long as there's a COVID problem, they can keep doing that. Therefore, we don't have a homeless problem in Seattle. Nice little switch of the hand there, a little shell game.
Yeah, but as soon as you lift all these restrictions, guess
there
what?
you go. As soon as you lift all these restrictions. That's the reason they don't want to. That's the reason they're pushing to take their time. Because they don't want right now, they don't want people to remember the problems that are going on. Because come election time in November, some of these people are up. And the situation under Inslee has gotten worse, not better. But if you don't see it before November, will you forget it? And that's their thinking. Will you forget that we have a problem there?
People do have short memories.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. That's what you've got. That's what you've got in a lot of places. They're using the pandemic for to their advantage. And it's kind of a sick game. It really is. All right, everybody. Did you realize we're at the top of the hour?
Top of the hour already.
Yeah, we're there. So,
pizza.
Yeah, it's time for you to eat. All right, everybody. We're about ready to go on break. When you come back, we're going to be talking about anything from penguins making friends with other species in the zoo as they're allowed to walk around and others aren't, to how scruffy people are now that they are allowed to go shopping in places like Europe, and how people are starting to look and how that is accepted and not accepted. So we're going to have some fun, and we're going to talk about anything and everything. Discussions do not have to stop. We can have fun. The idea is let's have fun in our second hour. Let's have some fun and be positive and have some laughs. But until then, Mr. Koz, do you have anything you want to say until next week?
I did, and I forgot it. I'll tell you next week.
All right, everybody, we're going to go on a quick 10-minute break. Y'all take care. We will see you in approximately 10 minutes. And until
Shots,
then,
everybody.
Shots.
Too hot to handle, I'm a countryman now. Get your feel now, cause the contraband's out. Yankee boy, no, I ain't from the South. But if you're talking to me, you better watch your mouth. Lit up like a stove, I'm a country campfire. Best of the best and the rest you can't find. Chillin' with blues, rock and roll, and cheap wine. That's how the story's told, so it goes through the grapevine. Keep me drinking this whiskey, leave my head banging like an 808. Living this life seems risky, but it's the only way left to escape. Mama keeps saying she'll miss me, can't blame her for all my hate. Keep me drinking this whiskey until the day that I'm laying in my grave. I'm telling you, man, you know this real shit's hard. Work a full-time job, I'm still stuck in a box. Breaking my back, trying to save up a stack, but every time I go forward, man, I just go back. I need new strings and the homies in jail. I put money on his books, but he's still gonna fail. Kids support's high and it's half-ass due. I don't like to spend cash if I know I'ma lose. I got no time like you seem to do. I'd rather spend my money, get my kids some shoes. I made mistakes just like we all do. It's time to pay for my crimes, man, I'll pay my dues. This whiskey, leave my head banging like an 808. Living this life seems risky, but it's the only way left to escape. Mama keeps saying she'll miss me, can't blame her for all my hate. Keep me drinking this whiskey until the day that I'm laying in my grave.
I wonder what's inside your butthole. I wonder what's inside your butthole. Maybe there's astronauts and maybe there's aliens all inside your butthole. What's inside your butthole? I always want to know. What's inside your butthole? I always want to know. What's inside your
Every morning seems just the same old routine. Blowing trees, writing these bars, line after line, mining for a diamond, but a dime is what I find. Hiding from the truth by simply coasting through these hard times with green, even though I'm feeling blue. But I gotta face the facts, girl, you know that it's true. And maybe what I'm supposed to do is not to get so close to you. But these days the only things that seem great are fading away. And the only time I feel home is when I'm alone or far away. But the road call says the wind blows. 10 missed calls on my flip phone, so it stays closed. Staring out my window while my mind slowly goes off into my headphones. Hoping that the dough will be worth it for the show, but who knows?
Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day. And there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change. No, we're never gonna change.
And day after day, it's just the same old thing. Working class life, and yes, it surely will bring a food to the table and a roof when it rains. But for the most part, you're just doing the same thing. A part of a machine with the ball and a chain. You try to be happy, yet all you feel is pain. It's a shame to use your brain and know that some will never change. But if insanity's the game, then you can take my hand and play. Life has a rhythm that I ride to, and you can come along if you would like to. And I can show you what it's like to walk in my shoes, to learn how to love just like I do. Look me in the eye and you will find truth. I'm testifying to the lying in my mic booth. And you're hating on me cause I ain't like you. And I ain't like you.
Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up. We laugh like kids all day. And there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change. No, we're never gonna change. Yo, my life is like a movie that nobody's producing. I write the music but nobody is moving, cause don't nobody care and everyone's confused till the characters change and never reaching a conclusion. And I don't know if I'll make it to the end, cause all I know is after we begin, the wind shifts us in many different directions, like the pen lifts up off the paper disconnected from anything we can feel, hear and see. And the words that I write mean something more than just to me. It's amazing that we've all grown accustomed to change, cause we can rearrange a pattern that's always been ingrained. They want us to grow up and stop acting how we want, but if you tell me I can't do something, I'll make sure it gets done. Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up. We laugh like kids all day, and there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change. No, we're never gonna change.
WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
I wonder what's inside your butthole. I wonder what's inside your butthole. Maybe there's astronauts and maybe there's aliens all inside your butthole. What's inside your butthole? I always want to know. What's inside your butthole? I always want to know.
All right, so doesn't that sound like something Casey would sing? I love it. And if you didn't know that the very first song and the very last song were done by our own Luke Humphrey, who is in one of the chats right now, and the middle song was done by Jay Reddy. All right, everybody, it is time to have some fun. Close to me opened, and they were on the news already. I'm curious to see what the state will. Yeah, you know, some counties are actually going against the state. And I applaud them. Not because I applaud them trying to infect people. But there are some places in the states that just don't have COVID cases. And people really, you can sit there and keep telling them, no, you can't come in, no, you can't, or no, you can't leave your home, but they're going to. They are going to. It's better that you control it than try to rule with an iron fist. It's better to control the chaos than to and mitigate and work with it than to try to lock it up. You will lose if you try. Casey says that does sound like something she'd say. I love it. I talk to everybody and I try to have a very positive and open heart. And today, you know what I do? If Jay Reddy, if you're still in one of the rooms, give me a call. You're more than welcome to chime in just for fun. Everybody else, you know, we're getting towards the end, and a lot of us are getting very, very cagey. I don't know about you. I know I am. I really wanted to go camping. It's and I agree, Casey. I don't have problems if people act right, but it's when people go too far. Okay, fine. They open up a bar. You don't crowd it, and you don't do stupid things like go and drink other people's drinks or just common decency and common sense. And I know that lacks these days, but I think we need to start using that again. Just my thought. What do I know? We're getting cagey. Everybody knows it. I know it. And I think at this point I think the governors need to recognize that I know some of them, they want socialism. They want communism. But they should realize by now, too many people have been raised under a democracy. They believe in their freedoms. It won't work. Stephen, yeah, people are stupid, and I will agree with that. But yet I have to wonder. I think they can think. I think they're capable of thinking. See, Casey, my wife says the same thing. See, she's an introvert. So for her to be shut in, she actually kind of enjoys it. She can go out and into the yard and mess around with her plants. In fact, she did that today. But I do like to get out. Even if it's not much, I do like to get out. When I was younger, it would have even been worse on me because I was very much an extrovert. Exactly, Luke. Common sense is not so common anymore. And I agree with you 100%, but that doesn't mean we can't start talking about it. It doesn't mean we can't start bringing it up to our children and to the young people who don't understand what common sense means. Luke, you can't fix stupid, but you can open their eyes. I mean, and I know this because I have done so. I could be a smart aleck and say, I had to point some things out to you, young man. And you didn't necessarily want to listen, but it eventually works itself out. Who the hell would kiss every single person in the bar? Yeah, I mean, that was not bright. I guess at this point I'm trying to say is we all can make it. we all can make it. Don't do things. Oh, Luke, I'm just giving you a hard time. Don't allow things to overtake you. Something that I've been kind of pushing when I talk on Fridays or Saturdays is you're capable of making the best of a moment until it's done. Don't make the worst of it, make the best of it. I know some people right now that have lost weight. I know some people that have gotten in shape. They've done things for betterment of their family unit. I know one guy who got his wife and his kids, they're all doing exercises. Like I had said, why don't you do an exercise during a commercial? Why don't you do an exercise at the end of a show? Things like that. And he said that actually helped. Things like that, we're towards the end, most of us. So we're going to get there. And we're going to get there with a smile on our face. Yeah, see, that's interesting, Stephen, because in places like Italy and even over in places like Russia, they kiss each other on the cheek. In France, they kiss each other on the cheek. And so you have to wonder, because that's a culture, how hard was it for them? Wisdom is gained through experience, and experience is gained after you need it. Exactly, John. And I've made my mistakes. That's how come I have so much experience. Many, many things in this world can hurt you. But you yourself can actually hurt yourself even more. Someone just tried to call me, I think. I missed a phone call. Oh, I had off that sound. Uh-oh. If you tried to call me again. Because I didn't catch it. I apologize. I had the sound off. No, everybody, that's what I encourage, is think. Think about what... Ooh, hold on. There it is. Hello?
Hola.
Hola, Mr. J Ready.
Oh. ¿Cómo está?
How you been doing, my friend?
Good. Super good, man.
I hear that this COVID is actually giving you some perspective, huh?
It's true. That's a true thing, man. It's kind of a weird blessing in disguise for me personally. I haven't had to deal with any of it. And, yeah, dude, it's just really an exercise in priorities. What really matters.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. And I'm not doing this to be a smartass, because I want you to give, because I talk about this type of stuff all the time. How did it help you? What priorities? What was your perspectives that came from this?
People that don't give a shit truly, and people that do give a shit truly, and money doesn't matter, stress doesn't matter, all of it just doesn't fucking matter. What matters is if you love yourself and you do for yourself, then you can help others. Honestly, just wiping the slate clean in your fucking brain. I mean, I know some people can't. I know some people aren't able to just stop the noise.
Yeah.
And it's a super fucking hard thing, but I was lucky enough and had the opportunity with this lockdown just to shut the fuck up. And man, it's nice. It's nice.
I'm so glad.
It sucks that all these people are hurting. And yeah, I mean, I have a small business and shit. and I'm lucky enough to have some clients that stayed steady with me through this thing.
Yeah.
So I could pay bills.
Yeah.
But it's not a whole lot of work, but on my time off, I'm like, man, I love TV shows. Don't get me wrong. I love Netflix. I love cinema. I love YouTube. I love Final Cut Pro. I love all this stuff that requires you to sit on your ass.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sitting on my ass and my ankles start to swell up, and I'm like, what the fuck is my fat ass doing?
Exactly.
Well, this ain't good.
No. And that,
So I bought one of those things off of Amazon that you pick up trash with on the side of the road.
Okay.
And it started there.
Wow.
Just kept going harder and harder and getting obsessed with getting in shape and obsessed with sweating, obsessed with like meditating in the woods, obsessed with like taking care of number ones. Because I'm not saying fuck everybody else.
Oh, no.
Can't do anything. Can't do anything with anybody else. This is the perfect time to fix number one.
I agree with you. And see, that's Jay heard me last night when I was talking under Healing the Human and the Being. And we go along the same line. You can't help anybody, including yourself, until you help yourself first.
And if I was ever like a dick to somebody, like if y'all, I know folks know me on here and shit from the past, and if I was ever a fucking asshole to anybody, or if I was ever unscrupulous or just a selfish fucking asshole, I swear from the bottom of my fucking soul, I apologize. And maybe there's too many to count. Maybe there's nobody. Who knows? I'm pretty positive I pissed some people off. And, the past 3 years have been a transformative mindfuck for me.
Yes, I know.
Starting from zero and to now. And now, like, I'm in the best mindset I've ever been in my adult life. I've kind of wrapped my head around things, tried to fix things. My heart's full, and those past couple years, man, like, honestly, with the stress of doing radio, and that, honestly, doing radio, people don't think it's fucking hard. It's hard. It's really fucking hard.
Amen.
It is a skill that you have to build up over time, and it acquires a lot of brain power. A lot. And people just don't understand that. So if you're ever hating, fuck off. and that, and like being in a new environment, and the evolution of change, like, it was so rapid. And I know the Army teaches you to adapt and overcome, but in my case, it was a lot slower than usual.
Yeah.
And trying to not burn bridges and or being able to create new ones. It's tough.
It is.
And now COVID, this quarantine, I turned off the news. I don't know anything that's going on, really. I know that whoever remixed that Cardi B song, that was a shit. I like that coronavirus song. But other than that, man, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who to believe. I don't give a shit about conspiracies. Like, it's too much brain power.
It's too much energy to go into places it's too much energy to go into places that it doesn't necessarily need to go into.
Yeah, and life is all about energies. I know this sounds like a woo-woo fucking like spiritual madness thing, but honestly, life is all about like your positive and negative energies, and the more positive you could pull out of things, or being away from vampires. That's one huge thing I learned about this. These social vampires are these soul vampires that just suck the fucking life out of you.
Yeah, they do.
I ain't fucking with you. Honestly, you can go kick rocks.
Gee,
But most of the people that I've come across, man, are fucking great. Honestly,
yes.
I've met a lot of cool fucking people. I miss doing radio. I miss this whole fucking thing. But it's just I like the quiet. It's peaceful in here.
And I get that 100%. Almost like someone tried to push you in that direction, huh?
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks.
You know what? The fact that you made it is the biggest compliment in my life. Anytime someone can do what you just talked about, I may have pushed you, but that's all I did. And you just
yeah. I mean, it ain't nothing but love, man.
Yeah, and I'm just happy that you figured it out. You did that on your own.
Well, it took some learning, to be honest with you, and it was painful along the way. But adversity builds motherfucking walls.
Oh yes, it does. And with you, with anybody, anytime, and I'm going to say this for everybody, Jay went through some transformations, and I'll at some point, him and I are going to talk a little bit more, but what he's saying, I've gone through. What he's saying, I've had students of mine go through. It's not easy. In fact, it's worse at first, because when you try to actually change, when you actually try to make a choice to alter, everything will get in your way, because you had all those things there that are going to try to stop you from changing, including yourself. It collapses.
It was a lot of me, dude. It was a lot of internal turmoil.
Exactly.
And I've got this writing on my wall right now. I'm looking right at it. The monkey will show up if you let it. You know how to stop it. Survive at all costs.
Exactly.
And the monkey is the PTSD. The monkey is the fucking anxiety. Like, I know everybody has a different version of PTSD or whatever. Mine is I'm very reclusive. I shut off. I ghost. I'm silent. And in my position, okay, this is the way I looked at it. Like, in my position on the radio, I like being that guy, being Jay Reddy, being that personality, being bigger than fucking life, trying to make everybody happy. But I was fucking dead.
Yeah.
I was dead inside. I fucking hated everything. I hated myself. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I hated fucking everything. And I just put this bullshit ass happiness on. And fuck, man, that eats you alive. I'm not saying I'm the happiest fucking Joe ever now. I know how to recognize it, and I know how to fucking deal with it. And anybody who's got PTSD out there, or a addiction problem, or a fucked up spouse, or anything like that, man. I mean, everything can change if you just grab your nuts, genderless nuts, and do it.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. It's a choice. The first thing I tell people is all it takes is one choice. Now, that one choice, you may decide it, but then you have to follow through with it. That one choice will cascade into more choices, but that one choice is the hardest, because it means you have to
quit
change.
being an asshole about it.
Yeah. You basically, it will throw your life upside down. During the COVID, and you know, I know you're talking about the last couple of years, but during the COVID, I've been really encouraging people to use the time that they've been given, because it's such a monumental time. And then on top of it, I'm telling people, and this is coming from a shaman, this isn't the last time. There is going to be turmoil.
True. Oh yeah.
And
this adversity's nuts.
Exactly. And I'm not saying, oh, you know, I prophesize. No, man. It's going to happen just because it's going to happen. There are too many people on this earth for it not to happen. It's going to happen. The best thing you can do is learn to cherish what you are inside. And I'm not saying you're going to become a narcissist. Anything but, huh, Jay Reddy?
Oh, no, look, I mean, I think that I had like super narcissistic tendencies, honestly. Absolutely 100% did. And that's something I've been working on. And I think you gotta have, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying, but you gotta have a little bit of fucking craziness to do radio.
Yes.
And you gotta kind of have this verbose, and you gotta kind of have this, I don't know.
You've got to be able
I don't
to
know
just,
the word for it.
you've got to be able to live up to the,
you got to be able to live up the character.
Yes. That's
and Jay Reddy's a fucking character.
Yes. But now, and see, you notice I call him Jay Reddy. He's having a hard time with me calling him Jay Reddy.
I mean, he's tattooed on my fucking arm, man.
Because he's changed. You're not a narcissist. You're not really narcissistic, are you?
I don't suppose I am. I mean, sometimes maybe, but
you've learned that you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
But
I do.
You know, that doesn't mean that you don't take care of others. It just means if you don't take care of yourself first, you can't be there for others effectively.
True. And that's the one thing I did love doing, like hosting on the show. Like, I miss talking to others. I miss helping others. I miss people like giving a shit about me. I met so many fucking people, and I had so many great times. And there was those times, man, that like we got people calling in and like they were like on the verge of suicide.
Yeah.
And we had to stop the show and talk them down. And it was like, holy fuck, what happened? Like it's
yeah.
It's crazy. Like, it's such a responsibility being a host on WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army What the Fuck Moments. It's such a huge fucking responsibility, and the weight of it, a lot of people don't understand. And that was my, I guess, crutch for a long time.
Yes.
And then it was my therapy for a long time, but then it became a crutch.
Yes.
And that's when it wasn't effective. Like, and caring about what other people thought of me.
Yeah.
My insecurity is already retarded. Why would I?
Yeah. It was
hindsight. Why would I ever fucking do that to myself?
It was actually starting to sabotage you.
Yeah. And my spirit, my soul.
Yep.
And it wasn't due to any one person or anybody.
No.
Or it wasn't that. It was.
It's a mental preparation and a process to get ready for a show. and it can actually weigh heavy.
It was me.
It can weigh heavy on your shoulders before. First of all, John, yes, he has been on since the Red Leg times. John is trying to remember.
Man. Yeah.
But no, guys, and I don't talk about the process. A lot of us don't talk about the process. But to get ready for a show doesn't start an hour before the show. It starts, for me...
No,
it starts... I have to take a day out of my week to do some things. And then I have to start mentally preparing, and I have to start gearing up. Everybody says, people do watch me on my John Owl and on my Healing the Human and Bee page. And I'm a very, everybody's like, you're so positive. I am positive. This is me all the time. The difference is when I actually come to the show, even if I'm in pain, I have to push through. Now, I can do it even if I'm not on air, but if I'm not on air, I can at least be sitting in a comfortable chair with my feet up. I can at least have some ice on my elbow. I can do things. But when I come here, that's gone. I'm here for you. Right now, there are rain clouds moving through. I have pain up and down my spine like you wouldn't believe. But I'm positive. Why? Because I want that for you. And that's what Jay Reddy's talking is, you have to get ready for it. It can take a day or two to get ready for it. And it can be exhausting. Not because you're exhausting, but because when we come here for you. I believe in WTF. I believe in being here for all the veterans.
I do too, man, still. I believe, still, that'll never go away from me. WTF was one of the biggest parts of my life, and it got me where I'm at today. And I will forever be grateful to Ice and Red Leg and Pie and 6 and 7 and Amy and Spanky and you and God. I mean, I will always love you motherfuckers. You'll always be my family. And everybody that was a fan, dude, everybody.
Yeah.
I loved it. There's a part of me that misses it, but it's just
at some point
that guy's gone.
Yeah.
I know my show was called Saturday Night Savagery, and I know that I was a bit of a savage, but honestly, in my soul, that's not me, dude. I feel like I'm a peaceful, nice dude.
And
I don't want to be hard in the paint 24/7.
And that's something you and I talked about when I came onto the station. Is you were starting to transform then, the savage part of you, and you wanted, and the problem is you couldn't even find a place or a way to be because you weren't sure what you were at that point. And that's kind of what you've been doing, is trying to figure out where Jay is at this point. You're not savage, so what are you? And how do you carry that?
I'm a human, dude. I'm a fucking human just like all of us.
Exactly. So that's what Jay, Jay has, he reached out to me yesterday. I was so happy to hear from you, dude. I really was.
Likewise.
Everybody, I've been encouraging people to do what Jay's doing. Fine, you got the peace, you got the time, use it. Don't abuse it. Don't take it for granted. Jay decided to make his transformation on his own. He decided, and that he didn't leave WTF because he hated y'all. He left because he was actually kind of scared that he would become toxic to himself and everybody else.
I felt like I was toxic to everybody, and that's what triggered insecurities. What what the fuck am I doing in conspiracy theories? You got to do research for weeks on a topic to present it, and I didn't give a fuck. I was just there to tell jokes. No, I jumped in way too deep. And the stuff with conspiracy theories that I was doing, it was like, okay, I'm freaking myself out. Because I really started to believe a lot of shit.
Yeah.
That and other circumstances. And it was just it was a pressure pot, dude.
Yeah.
And I fucking popped. And I do what I do best. I ghost.
But you figured it out.
Yeah, eventually. But I don't. I still, it's just like, fuck, I don't know, dude. It's so much better now.
Good.
I'm a photographer, videographer, still doing the music thing.
Good.
Got my own business, Great White Oak Media. Shout out Spanky for that title. And if y'all are on Instagram, Great White Oak Media, go check it out. But dude, being behind a camera where it's quiet, where it's chill, where
you can observe
I don't know,
enjoy.
I can create.
You can create, but you can enjoy it.
Fuck yeah.
And you don't have to worry about being, because the one thing about being here, and I'll tell you everybody, when you're doing this when you're doing this live, sometimes you sit there afterwards and go, what did I just fucking do?
Dude, I went back and listened to my however fucking many shows I've had.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Ouch.
What was coming out of my fucking mouth?
Oh, give me a second. Wall, your feelings, you're allowed to have feelings. You know that. Don't you dare say you'll shut up now. You don't need to shut up. Okay? Don't. No, that's just it. Jay's in a unique position. His words have been recorded. He's, it's kind of, okay, he actually has a running video of his time from when he got into WTF until when he left, and the changes he's made personality-wise over those years. And that can be good, that can be bad, that can be quite eye-opening when you go through.
It was crazy, all in all.
Exactly. I know some of you...
It was fun.
I know some of you off camera. I know some of you by phone. And knowing you back when we started talking to now, things have changed. And it's not that it's good or it's bad. That is what actually happens. But sometimes you need to be cognizant of that. And you need to understand that you have changed and that your life has changed and your way of thinking has changed. Jay's has changed in a positive way. I can already tell because he's actually focusing on the fact that he's gone through what he's gone through. There is no shutting up, Val, even if you don't say anything. Thank you, John. You need, when you are going through, okay, we're talking about a bunch of veterans. Probably a lot of us have had PTSD.
Yeah.
You are not going to get to where you are happy until you break through things. And that is not easy. And it's not going to feel good. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to hurt. You've got to sometimes go back and apologize for some of the stuff you've done because you did become toxic at some point. But you have to accept that. That's part of the experience of getting better. And that's something that, everybody says, I'm Mr. Rogers, I'm Mr. Positive. How the hell do you think I got there? You think I was always Mr. Positive?
Trials and tribulations, good sir.
Okay, I'm going to give you one small glimpse into John Owl before I went through my own healing. Everybody's heard me say I was a psychiatric specialist and a medic. That was my day job. I got recruited to do some things, and I did them in the military, so it was legal. I did some harsh things. I did some things that Jay Reddy talks about in his song.
Wait, what? What song?
The song I played during half.
What was it?
The one with Tech Nine.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Okay, I can't say my hands are clean because they're not. I don't talk about my exact experiences. That's not something that I think I need to do, and I don't want people to feel sorry for me. But I've been in situations where I've had to pick other people up and carry them out and under fire, and had to use hand to hand. I've actually had to fight way out hand to hand with knife. I've had to do things. I was messed up. I had people looking out for me because I saved their asses. I saved their lives. I was Doc. But I was the one who had to get them out.
I never had to put the Ginsu to anybody.
I did.
So that sucks.
And it wasn't just one person. And how the hell I did it, I don't know. Because it was more than one person. And I got out. And I was the only thing that got us out because the other guys were down. And then I had to carry them out at the same time. They looked out for me afterwards because they knew I was pretty messed up about it. But when I was medically put out, it wasn't for PTSD because I was physically messed up. The mental was being brushed under the rug.
But when you got out, man, that was like, it was a different world, you know. And now,
exactly.
I have been lucky in the fact that I got to do a lot of stuff with the War Horses for veterans and learned on the psychological side of things. And from my perspective, like the mental angst of everything, the culmination of it. I'm still in the position I held years back, and I think like, and I'm no fucking doctor by any means at all.
No.
But I think pills and all that stuff are the leading cause of veteran suicide and addiction.
I agree.
And I think now with the internet and now with communities like this, these are like WTF Nation Radio, U.S. Army What the Fuck moments, all the other veteran groups, those huge ones, Drinking Bros, all those places where veterans can accumulate and talk and speak. Over time, it's been so positive. Yeah, dude, it has. And like, we are pack animals. And if I go talk to people, if I go talk to a group of people, I explain it like this. I'm like, yo, we're a fucking pack of wolves. We are snatched from our youth. We are turned into a fucking wolf that kills. And we are put with a pack of wolves. And we are badass motherfuckers. And then, after all that time, you are, what's the word that's said in the Shawshank Redemption? You are institutionalized.
Yep.
And that's your way of life since you were a fucking 17-year-old baby. That's the only thing you know.
But then as soon
And
as
then
you're done,
snatch.
you're,
Yeah.
When
Where's your
you're
pack?
done, that way of life, it's not like you can just turn it off.
No. You're made into a murderer, and then a good one, too. And
Yeah.
then you can't do it no more. And there ain't nothing sweeter than that.
And everybody, the song that I play of Jay Reddy's from Tech Nine, that portrays that. That's the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem most veterans have when they get out is they were made to kill, and now they don't. And now they're told be civilized, be PC. That's the reason.
Don't cuss.
That's the reason.
Don't talk about dead babies.
Exactly. That's the reason WTF exists, is because we don't PC. We talk how we talk, and we are who we are, and we don't judge because we were. We understand each other. There is that. It's what goes on after we come out. Drugs ain't the answer. And I agree with you 100%. The medication they try to hand out, that is not the answer.
No, I don't think it is. It's community, man.
It is.
It's fucking community. And it's not sitting at the VFW drinking either.
No.
It is getting out, being active. And it's getting out, being active. It's getting out, doing stuff for your community. It's getting out, giving back, and keeping to your oath that you should never let go. And you are a specter of United States. I don't even know if specter is the right word. You are
Guardians.
A representative still of the United States military, their training, your brothers, the code that we're uphold, the fucking NCO creed,
Yep.
all that, dude. You still live that. And you wouldn't do fuck games inside of the military.
Nope.
You wouldn't just sit there and just get drunk and sit on your ass all day long and eat pills and fuck fat girls or get STDs, have a bunch of babies. You wouldn't fucking...
No.
You wouldn't do that.
That's the reason
Not exercise.
That's the reason I tell people. I try to remind everybody at least once every other week. You're the top 4% of the United States because you answered the call voluntarily and went to it for your country. Only 4% can say that. And you should be proud.
Fat girls do need love too, Doc Derek. My fault. I didn't mean it like that. Don't do meth.
But that's the whole idea, is when you need. During this time of COVID, during this pandemic, a lot of people have gotten on the bad side of it. I've watched and I've listened. I've tried to get people to come and listen, because not just because I'm trying to preach, because I'm trying to get people to realize there can be a positive side.
Yeah.
You can find, like I said, there is one guy, he sat there and he listened to me one night and I said, dude, you're young. You're younger than me. And I'm doing push-ups and sit-ups and leg lifts and squats. Every half hour when I'm done with it, I'm watching Netflix. So when I'm done with the show, boom, I do them. Every time. And I have a bar, and I do certain exercises with that. If I can do it, I'm 57 years old, I'm beat up all the hell and back. And if I can do it, why the hell can't you? He decided, not only would he do it, his wife joined him, and his kids joined him. And they're all doing it. And they said that that's something positive they're taking out of this. If you turn a negative into a positive, is it really a negative anymore?
No, you've totally redeemed yourself.
And that's the idea. Jay and I have had conversations off air. And my whole idea behind talking when we talked was he needs to work on finding the positive within. It was always finding the positive within, and he found it. He struggled.
Well, I try to cover it up, man. I try to cover up my pain with chicks, the celebrity of radio.
Yeah.
I've tried to cover all my pain up with inanimate bullshit, and it's not fucking real, and I hurt people along the way, and that is like my biggest hang up now. Like, I feel so bad about that, and I know I can never take it back or like fix it. I can only apologize, and if you tell me to fuck off, roger that, check. But I really do mean I'm sorry to anybody I fucking ever hurt.
I tell people that have gone through phases like that, apologize and then live a better life. Because that's the only thing.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that will truly mean anything, because it meant you learned from it. And that's, I have been, I've watched you. I've paid attention. and Doc does bring up something. Look at the people you've helped. You did help people, Jay.
I tried.
So don't
tried, man.
Don't allow, and this is something I also tell people. We all make mistakes. We all have done things that we can sit there and say, man, I shouldn't have done that, or man, I'm the first one to say I made some mistakes. But I'm not going to let those mistakes define me. I'm going to learn and let it become experience, rather than something that balls up and becomes a festering problem. Because I've always told people, you can sit there and you can say that you don't want to be or do something, but if you try too hard to not be or want to do something, you actually end up being or doing it.
Yeah.
Because you focus so hard, you lose sight of who and what you really are. So
you get drunk on it, man. And
you do.
It's not real.
Exactly. And even Doc is saying, you put a lot of smiles on people's faces. And you did.
I'm trying, man.
You did.
I appreciate that.
And at this point, everybody, we are getting close to the end of the COVID, at least in some ways. What did you learn? What are you taking from it? And
I know that's a rhetorical question, but I'll answer it.
Okay.
The only thing that matters in this world is fucking love. Honestly, your fellow man.
Yep.
You gotta fucking help people that are simple-minded, simple people, people that can't do for themselves. If you're able to, you better fucking get up for grandma so she can sit down, I mean, that's just, you got to be polite. You can't be dicks to people. The golden rule is like the most important fucking thing in the world.
There you go.
And if you get into a position of power or a position of influence, don't fucking abuse it, asshole. I mean, honestly, and I'm speaking to myself on that. Like, it's too easy to get lost in it. And it's for me, it's difficult because having people love me or people that care about me, like to the extent I never had that shit growing up. I was never appreciated. I was always belittled, and it was like, oh fuck yeah! It's like you hit the social spiritual jackpot.
Yeah.
But it's a wolf in sheep's clothing, you know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
So you gotta kind of fucking love is all that fucking matters, and just be cool, homie. Just be cool, bitch. That's it.
And I'll stick with that, and I'll add on by simply saying you have to love yourself enough to care and take care of who you are. And in loving yourself, you will love others. Because you'll realize that you are not the only thing that is there. You are not the only being that is existing. And therefore, they deserve the same love you give yourself.
It's very true, brother. Very fucking true. And you keep doing what you're doing. You're killing the game. You and Koz, I love it. Everybody at the station, keep it up, keep rocking.
You're always welcome. You're always welcome to call on the show. You know that. If I know the call's coming in, I will always answer it. Because
hell yeah.
You have wisdom to lay down because you're going through it, and you have the ability to still smile, which is still needed.
Very true, very true. I just don't make fucking excuses. I think that was my biggest thing.
Yep.
I got hung up on that. I always wanted to make an excuse for some shit and not take ownership of my bullshit. And that's narcissism, I think, 101.
Yep.
But, yeah. It's not the case, dude. You kind of just gotta deal with your shit, be a man about it, and get through it. Figure it out, and
look for help if you need it.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Because that's the biggest thing about this community. It is all help. Everybody gives a shit. Everybody gives a shit, and we need that. We need a wolf pack, and it doesn't have to be a murderous, crazy, rampage war pig. We can take that war pig energy and put it into positivity. We can do it. It's a beautiful thing. I did it. Like, if my dumb Mississippi self can figure out how to be positive, you can do it. I'm the dumbest person in the world. I know I survived Down syndrome, but I made it, and if I can be positive, you can be positive. Everybody can be positive. Don't take meds. Well, no. Do take them. Just don't come off of them. That's bad.
The thing,
guys,
I'll say this. When you go through what you've gone through, it's not about stupid. It's not about anything like that. It's not about. It's about realizing, one, that you've got something that you need help with. And here's a thought for you. In World War II, after World War II was done, the middle class became prevalent because the soldiers that came home had learned, had become better than they were when they were back before they went in. They became experienced, smarter. They realized what really mattered. They learned the more of self-worth, community. They learned teamwork. They learned how to be more. Something that's being pushed a lot is trying to make the veteran hide, because the middle class will resurge if the veterans take hold of it like they did in World War II. They came back and they said, you know what? We know how to make it better. We can overcome and adapt. We learned that. Well, you guys learned it too. You just have to remember that. You just have to live it again and realize you can live. Make sense?
You can live.
There you go. Doc, we aren't talking about getting off your epilepsy pills.
Doc, yeah, you're a bro. Don't listen to us at all when it comes to medication, brother. You do what you do. You're kicking still. And hey, everybody out in the whole nation, y'all give Doc Derek some fucking love. He's going through a rough one, man. He's going through a rough time. And he needs all the love, bro. And we love you, Doc. You're the fucking best, dude.
Exactly.
As long as he can be on his motorcycle, he's in heaven. So
sometimes that's all it takes. All right, everybody. I don't want to cut you short, Jay, but it is getting late.
Oh, that's all good. You do what you do, brother. I love you, and I'm out.
All right, we'll talk to you later, brother.
Peace.
Peace. All right, everybody. That was nice. And it was encouraging. When Jay left here, he knew he needed change. He knew he needed to help himself because he had come to a crossroad. And he changed. This is him telling y'all it's possible. It's not easy, but it's always possible. John, we're on Twitch, Mixer, Periscope, and a bunch of stuff I don't even know. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and start shutting it down. It is housekeeping time. It's kind of past it, but you know what? I enjoyed hearing from Jay Reddy, and I think everybody else did. It's nice to hear that people can come out positive. And I think we need to remind ourselves of that. All right, everybody. We have guests upcoming. On the 19th, we have Stephanie Klein. She's a Marine Corps veteran. Stephanie Klein is a DC-based stand-up comic, writer, producer, and contributor for Duffel Blog. At loose ends after leaving the Marine Corps and then dealing with the end of her marriage, Stephanie turned to comedy through a workshop with the Armed Services Artist Partnership. That should be pretty cool. On the 21st, a Thursday, we have Command Sergeant Major John Troxell. Army veteran, Command Sergeant Major retired John Troxell is a former senior enlisted advisor to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He will be at Sergeant's time to let us know what he has been up to since retiring from the Army. John, I always take care of my cats. On the 24th of May, Sunday. Oh, I have a guest. Next week. Cool. Lorena Tomzina. She'll have to tell me how to pronounce it. Will be joining Koz and Owl to dispel a lot of myth when it comes to the end of life planning and benefits in regards to the VA. A lot of veterans believe the VA takes care of everything, and she wants to make sure we know what they do and do not handle. That is going to be good. I'm probably going to tell my wife to listen to that one also, because that's important. A lot of us don't think about that, but you do need to think about it. On the 26th of May, Tuesday, Addison Williams. Addison Williams is the CEO and marketing strategist of 98 To Go. Prior to marketing within an agency environment, Addison oversaw marketing, public relations, and public service messaging within U.S. Special Operations Command. Not bad. Not bad. That looks like a fun lineup. We have shows, of course. On Mondays, we have the Monday night edition with Ice and Flash. Tuesday, we have Pop Culture Wear with CQ and Radar. Wednesdays are our Danza and Meditation Day. Thursday, our Sergeant's Time with Ice and Spanky. And right now, then we come to Sunday, which is Kicking It with Koz, which is Koz and Owl. Owl is me. All right, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Thank you for listening. Please, if you have problems, don't hesitate to go to WTF Nation Radio, either our radio page, our main page, or our web page, and look us up. We're here for you. We love everyone. We're here for our brothers and sisters. Thank you, Doc, for being here. I do appreciate you. And I guess, remember, it only takes one choice to change. That choice can be hard. It can mean a lot of things come down upon you, but we both know that you can stick with it. Make the choice to be positive for you, and the rest falls in place. All right, everybody, thank you for showing up. Remember, keep it simple, keep it real, and remember to smile, because you just don't know who you're going to help, including yourself. I will see you next week on Kicking It with Koz. Until then, love y'all and have a good week. And good night.
Before coffee on a Tuesday, it's already been a bad week. My girls had a couple flats, and my dishwasher sprung a leak. From the kitchen, her complaining, you know it just ain't cute anymore. I get the kitchen and start to drift towards the great outdoors. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. In my garage, I got rods up on the wall. I got a John boat in the yard under a faded camo tarp. I need a reset to my spot, I hear the call. I just gone fishing, let her know that I ain't gone. Junk mail don't come out there, my phone won't ring. The only thing I want to hear is my reel with a big one on a string. That large mouth don't talk at all, and my weight just sinks away. Set him free, bring him home, the one decision I gotta make. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. In my garage, I got rods up on the wall. I got a John boat in the yard under a faded camo tarp. I need a reset to my spot, I hear the call. Just gone fishing, let her know that I ain't gone. I got my tackle box in the front seat and my best friend in the bed. Don't come looking for me, 'cause I ain't coming home till long after that sunset. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. I got the rods in my garage down on the wall. Threw my John boat in the truck, filled my camo cooler up. I hit the reset, hit my spot, and heeded that call. I just gone fishing. Let her know that I ain't gone.
WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.